Right. I think we're back on live. Okay, so this hopefully here we'll be able to replace these two to use Turso. So we've got our data going in, all the Star Wars characters, and we need to get it out. So it's going to be a query. So I think it's going to be pretty much the same as all this, isn't it? So, well, it's not entirely yet. It's got the wrong end of the stick there. I think what we were saying was, yeah, okay. So that was okay. I remember when we stopped it last time. So due to the nature of how the system has changed, there is one streaming service which just used to be for streaming classes, but I thought, well, actually, we'll just have one pipeline to stream information down to the clients. So the creation of users on the client app is done through that same thing. So we don't need to worry about the protobuf for this. However, I think I did create one called list users, unless can't see it anywhere. That must be unused. On the, let's get rid of some of these windows. Right, okay, so on the original one, it must be running db list users. This basically just returns the list of users. And then in main, we're just calling it here. So this is only really half done. It loads the users up when the Go app boots up, and it gets added, and they don't get added. So what should we do? Let's create two new ones called list users Turso. Func S $. Really? Could do with turning that off. Server list users Turso, and it's going to return it's going to return the same thing. A list of pointer to that and an error. And let's just copy that string. All right. Where was that simple example on returning users? So query users, rows. And then we have to scan through each one. Let's just borrow that code and pop it in there. So this is going to be s dot Turso db dot query select star. I tend to be more specific. Probably just an old DB dinosaur. Okay, that'll come into there. Close the row set query. And then these need to be a slice of protobuf users and a start protobuf. I think that's right. User ID and username, and then that can be returned as nil if it's errored with the error. Otherwise, append the user to the users, and it looks like we're going to be printing them out as well. Why not? Okay, undefined. Okay, it's because Go capitalizes these. All right. List uses Turso. And we're missing a return. Yeah. Return nil and then down here, if it's finally worked, we want to return the users and no error. Nilness, nil reference in field section. Nilness. I'm not so sure about this. These tend to be like that. Well, that hasn't worked. So we have to get the ordinal location for these things right. How to execute query. Oh, this is literally reading things. Is everything still streaming okay? Yep. Morning. List users Turso. I don't think I've got that right. And all my other mockups here, we define that. Oh no, it is defined as a slice of pointers to the object, and then we just unmarshal it using the address of that. So yeah, it's the same. I don't know what nilness, nil dereference in field section means. Nil dereference in field section. Doesn't look right. But if we was to change this to list, oh my god, what did I call it? List users Turso. Should have the same interface. Yes. Invalid memory address. We've definitely got something wrong there. Let's look at their example. They're not defining them as pointers. It's just a list of slice. Maybe that one is no. We okay. Let's see what the old, what is the error about nilness? There's a potential for a nil pointer dereference or a nil value being used in a way that could cause a runtime panic. However, in the provided snippet, there's only a string closed quote, which is not enough. It's something to do with that. I think we have to do this to make it into a thing. Like that. That's now able to receive, a bit like this one over here. Yeah. It's actually defining the whole list. You don't have to loop through it because the JSON's doing it for you. Oh, okay. Looks like it's worked. I can see all their names up there. And as that is populating the users, because the main is just going to receive that user list or user slice, put it in the users for the mutex, then that should be running. So let's see if we go into the Flutter app and see if we see those Star Wars like names appear, which would be quite cool. Log in. Hey, there they are. got playing on? Men's B team practice. Darth Vader, R2D2, and C3PO, and me, Luke. Cool. Well, I think that was mission accomplished, really. In terms of what I wanted to achieve. Ooh, yeah, come on, that way, and you can go that way. And then yeah, you go up there, and in there. I think that's about right. Can't tell. I can't tell. I'm gonna go a bit higher. It looks like my. Okay, let's wait for this to catch up. I'll have a quick sip of tea. I think my camera's frozen. What was I typing there? Oh man, I'm still coding. It's quite a way behind, actually. I thought it would be a lot more up to date than that. Well, it's really behind. I'm still talking about protobuf. Anyway. So, the key change there is on Turso, we create the query. In this case, we just want to get every single user out of the database. OSX, it's a little bit fierce. Return, nil. That should then pick up. Yeah, the stream has died, and it will pick it up again. I wonder if we're getting more. No, I think we need to undouble it out. But anyway, there's the query. I guess it's using a prepared statement. Execute it. Add a defer to close that query, which is called rows, SQL.rows. When the function dies, and then define a slice of pointers to protobuf user, and then loop-de-loop through all of the users using rows.next. Generate a variable to store the user, and then rows.scan the ordinal positions of whatever columns are coming out of that query into that user, then append that user to the slice of users. We don't need to print them out, but we are. And if there's any errors that happen during that process, we need to let the system know and return the error. Otherwise, that's it. The database part is replaced. So yeah, we could what is it? G, capital G, C, no, G, capital G, C, TGC, no, I think it's capital G to go to the end, yeah. G, capital GC. I would have thought I would have done it. G. Oh, it doesn't matter. I can just do it that way. Right. So this part of the struct is literally just a server command that isn't called from the outside. It's just called when the server boots up. And it gives you these names. So there's an easy way of deduping that. And then there's the right way. I could just drop the database again and rerun it, but only run it once. I don't know how good this SQL is going to be on here. SQL runner it's called. But I would have said something like group that by username. I can't do control F5 every time. Yeah. Group by username. Having count star greater than 1. Oh, done it again. I'm glad that remembers it. Right. How do you do that in SQL? So we'll go for the max user ID, and we'll call that as last user ID. Run that. Yeah. And get rid of that. We should still get those numbers. And then we can write delete from users where user wherefore are though where user ID is in. I'm not sure. At some point we're going to hit the coalface of where my SQL skills, my SQL Microsoft skills meet. Okay. Did that work? I don't know. Let's try. Let's try rerunning that, which should reset this stream and reset the users. I don't think that has reset the stream. This is now only saying 13 users. Okay, now it's died. But we're still... What? What? I literally don't know how that's happening. Let me restart that. Yeah, that's better. It looks like the client has reordered it. Anyway, we didn't bother putting in an order by statement. Well, I guess it wouldn't hurt. Order by user name. It's not going to make any difference. I think that won't make any difference because, I don't even know if I want to start explaining what I've done for the way that the streaming works on this. Because there's a lot to it. Yeah. So inside the main, after it's done all these things, it will start syncing the changes, which is going to go and run this every 60 seconds, I think. Is going into a whole world of other stuff. Yeah. That's to make sure that if any changes were made directly on the database, bypassing the middle tier or the Golang part, then they would resync. So it's not particularly efficient. And if no one's ever going to have change access to the database, and it's always done through the application, you wouldn't need it. It's not an ideal world, though, is it? As we just found, I just run a delete statement to get rid of duplicates. Although, in that case, we're not doing this for the users. Control O, yeah, and then we reset the next class state. That's to make sure that this list of matches is recycled. So when it only shows you 7 days, which I think is fine. That's all you need. Kind of. And then you've got a changeover, so it will repopulate. Get rid of today, which is Monday. It will appear down the bottom. And then starting the logging. Yeah, that's just printing out every second what's going on. So it must be on the start sync changes that stuff gets interesting. No, I don't think it was that. It must be even earlier. I can't remember. Well, anyhow, let's get rid of these and we'll put them into maybe this one. Funk. S dollar start server. Migrate users. The table. Dink. And then put all that in there. Now, Yes, we don't actually want there to be right. Okay. Yes. So let's use our newfound Vim replace. So we want to replace was it %s/g dot with s dot and do that globally. I think you just need G. It looks like it's going to do. No, hang on. S. No, I want G dot. You're joking. G dot. G / dot. Yeah, okay. /s / dot. Maybe add a space in there. Yeah. That's done the majority of it, but now we've got this log. Where did that come from? That was on main, wasn't it? Log. Good def. It's just an import. Yeah, it's imported it for me. Dot dink. Undefined. Missing return. Yeah. Return nil. Oh, I'm not so worried about that. Oh dear. Actually, return it's not entirely right, is it? It should really drop out after the first one, but that'll do. Yeah, so we can run that if we need to. Right. I'm not so sure if the enormous font size. Actually, maybe I was looking at the wrong one. Am I actually even streaming? I don't know what's going on. Okay, that's me now doing something in the past. We can ignore that. So the streaming side of things, rearrange those fields. The streaming part of this back end is related to this bit where we have the classes, we have a channel, and that is how we communicate with the users. These are the back of list classes. Resync, no. One of these things does something. It's not that one. It must be in stream. So, okay, of course, you idiot. There's me trying to find the code on the back end server that initiates it, but it doesn't initiate anything until a client comes along, and in this case on Flutter, presses a button, and that's going to run this code on the back end. That's why I couldn't find it. Okay, so it's then gonna, I think this is a map of stream classes server, which is basically, this is going to be your unique reference to that particular machine. That stream, I should say. And the first thing it's going to do is to lock these classes up. Well, first of all, lock the client list. So that's where all your different clients are going to be with your reference. They're uniquely rendered. Referenced. And then unlock it, and then you've got the same for here to make sure no one adds any classes while you're in this process of looping through. Bear in mind, it's going to take a blip of a millisecond. It's going to stream them all out. I like that. So you're going to get all these messages of type create with a message of type class. Now this, again, well, this is badly defined. It's really just a match, but it might have been like an exercise class. And then for each one, it will stream.send that message to whoever's listening. And if there's a problem, it will unlock the mutex there. And it does, okay, so here it is. So this is the users part. So it does the same for the users. Loop through them all. Create a message type of create, so you know that on the client it's got to add something. Not just to this list, but to the list of state of users that are existing inside the application. It's going to create a user, and it will stream through all of those. So the bit we haven't done yet is to work out when, I haven't even written the code for it yet, but if a new user is added, and that needs to be pushed out so people can, well, the only reason I'm doing that is so that we can just use ID numbers to spit over the internet, rather than all the names all the time. Not so sure if that's a good idea, but we'll see. Indeed, you can't really expect everybody to have a list of everyone's name, but yeah, if they only know names of people at their club, it's a finite number. Or maybe even people that they want to associate with. And then unlock it. And then if you was to drop out of that function or stop listening, then remove that client from the list of clients. And then we're into the listening on the channel. If anything comes in on that channel, such as a resync, or more often than not, it will be disconnected clients. That was an interesting bit. But then whatever it is, it will send that message type out to all clients. It sort of makes sense if I run two of these applications next to each other. But you'll be able to, if I click a button there, it's obviously created a new event. But if I had another copy of this app on my phone, or anywhere on the internet, it was subscribing to the same stream, then that would immediately show up on that page, which is not particularly useful there. But if you're looking at a game where there's exactly 10 spots or 8 spots, that kind of real-time reaction really matters if everyone wants to sort of get a chance at pushing the button. That was the idea anyway. But also just to sort of do away with any doubt that you might not be playing, because you don't want people turning up for a game of tennis only to be shown, well, there wasn't enough spots for you, What am I rabbiting on about? I don't know. I just don't know. Well, it's good that we've got a lot of people not listening and watching. Right, anyway. That's probably about enough for today. I don't want to start going into all the block stuff because this is where things really start to get interesting. But yeah, I guess we could take a quick look at the user block, maybe. Yeah, this is just Flutter Dart stuff. Yeah, it's a pretty simple application that doesn't do a great deal, but there's quite a lot of engineering inside of it. Anyway, end of stream.